What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Welcome back to Punch Code TV. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the fights that happened over the weekend. Today, I'll be talking about the aftermath of UFC 323. I'll be talking about the results, who I think every fighter should fight next, and see what their future should be. First off the rip, I'm gonna go with ranking this card. This fight card was not bad. I watched from the early prelims. I missed a couple fights, but honestly, it was not a bad card, but it was not the best card to wrap the year up with. I give it a good maybe 6.5 out of 10. And you're gonna see later on why that big gap was given, but about a 6.5 out of 10 was pretty mediocre, but it wasn't a bad card. Over here, I'm gonna put the fights that I'm talking about, and everything here is gonna be who should be next and whatever. All right. And I'll be talking about the fights that I personally really were invested in rather than like the whole card. Hopefully, in the next card, I'm gonna try to do more research under it, and let's get right into it with this video. All right, first up, Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner. Man, Jalen Turner completely proved me wrong. I thought he was gonna win, but I thought it was gonna be a very close fight. But man, he was doing great against a styly and tricky kickboxer in Edson Barbosa, and then ends up taking him out. That fight was just insane for a person who was riddled with just, I would say, bad luck and then retirement and all of this. You would think that that motivation is gone. There's not that much ring rust. It hasn't been that long since he fought, but with all the stuff that's happened and with all the losses that he's had, you would think that maybe his motivation wasn't all there. But man, did he prove me wrong. And it's so sad to see for Edson Barbosa. What I think is next for Jalen Turner, man, I think he should fight Yoel Alvarez. I think that'll be a really good fight. It's not directly in the rankings, but it's right there. I think Jalen Turner is still gonna be a very good contender. Now, if he's gonna be a top 10, top 15 lightweight contender is still to be seen. But that's my prediction. That's what I think Jalen Turner should do next. But when it comes to Edson Barbosa, and I'm pretty sure I said it in the last video, unfortunately, I think Edson Barbosa should retire. Man, he's had a great career. He's has lots of highlight moments and has lots of great fights. But the man is getting up there in age, and not just with age, but a lot of wear and tear. And I think it's time for him to hang up the gloves with this one. But if he does hang up the gloves on this is not a horrible fight that he should be disappointed in. He still showed his good sides, but man, Jalen Turner got him. That's what I think should be next. This fight was a beautiful fight. I give this fight an 8 out of 10, a nice 9 out of 10. I would watch it again right now if I could, and I will. Right after this video, I'm going to be watching a lot of these fights to make sure my takes are very accurate to what I remember. Just straight up is it's very hard off of one glance. Next fight, Bruno Ferreira versus Marvin Vettori. I'll be honest, it was not a really good fight. I feel like it was a very slow paced fight. I'm not gonna call on this channel. I'm not gonna call nothing. I'm not gonna do no. I'm not gonna overuse words like robbery, boring, whatever. I'm not overusing these words. If I believe it's a true robbery, I will say robbery, but or rigged. I'm never gonna say rigged. I will never claim any fight as rigged. But that fight was just very boring. I feel like Bruno Ferreira could have done a little bit more. But with a fighter like Marvin Vittori, who does have a good pressure and does have a good chin, it makes sense that he couldn't really do much. But he just looked slow. He looked so bulky. I feel like he's so big, and I don't think that this fight was as good as I think it could have been. I do. I'm gonna go with the loser for this one, and this was already written down, and I have him and then another fighter who I also had this prediction for, and only one of these predictions for which is going to be retirement. I believe Marvin Vettori should retire. I think everybody. I feel like there was lots of whispers saying that this could be his last fight, and if it is his last fight, he has not had a horrible career. I will give you that, but was not the best fight to end on, and I really don't know. That's a It's a good 3 out of 10. Bruno Ferreira, man, maybe a rematch with Abus Magomedov should happen. Maybe a rematch with him. Abus just came off of a loss with Joe Pyfer. Honestly, if it's not with Abus, maybe a fight with Joe Pyfer could be a good fight. Maybe Joe Pyfer could push that pace a little more and bring out a good side of Bruno Ferreira. I think he should. Like I think he has. All right, let's get into the main card. And I did make predictions for the prelims. You can watch it in my last video. But because I didn't do much in depth with it, it's not going to be anything I'm going to talk about in this video. So I'm going to get into the main card. And the first fight of the main card is going to be Jan Blachowicz versus I'm going to try to hopefully not to butcher this name. I'm sorry. Bogdan Guskov. If I hope Bogdan Guskov. That was an insane fight. That was an amazing showcase of light heavyweight glory, man. That was just amazing. Just like it was, like kept me on the edge of my seat. This was where I was like, this card is gonna be insane. And I'll be honest, I'm not upset at the draw whatsoever. This was such an equal fight for a 3 rounder. This was the most equal fight I think I've ever seen in my life. Granted, maybe I haven't seen enough fights, so I'm sorry for that. But this has been the most equal fight I've ever seen ever. That when this fight was over, a draw was the only thing I could have got in my mind. I could not see this go anywhere else. And I feel like this is a very simple prediction, but a rematch needs to happen immediately. A rematch has to happen. Jan showed that he is not washed, that he is not done. I was very worried for Jan for his wear and tear. After getting into the level of a champion and being one, and then losing it, a lot of people lose their motivation, but Jan Blachowicz is showing that he is still championship material. Not championship material, but he's still here and he's not gonna give up his place. This rematch should happen as soon as possible. It really should. If this fight does not happen, because it's very rare that rematches like this happen immediately, I think Bogdan Guskov should fight Alexander Rakic. Rakic is still that, even though Rakic is not at the level that he was at one point, I feel like he's still right there. He's still a name that you can build Bogdan off of, a fighter coming off of losses, but still good up in the rankings. If not him, I think Jamal Hill would be a very good fight. If he did this with Jan Blachowicz, I feel like that would be a crafty back and forth, and I think it should be a 5 round main event on a fight night card, and I think it would be amazing. 10 out of 10. That was a beautiful light heavyweight fight. Next up in the rankings. So this fight, I won't lie, I missed it. I missed it. I was very busy and I got tired. I fell asleep and I missed this fight. Don't have much to go off of, but I watched back highlights. Tatsuro Taira is a beast, man. He is a beast, and I love Brandon Moreno. But I'll be honest, this was for me at the time for what my predictions were. I wanted Taira to win by unanimous decision, but I wouldn't have mind if Moreno won, but because of who I said was going to win the co-main event, which I'll be getting into in a little bit, unfortunately, I said that Moreno not winning was the best option because it's very hard to sell a fourth fight with Alejandro Pantoja after one fight with Tough and then the 2-3 fights that followed afterwards. It was not going to be easy, and it was very good domination, except that last fight. That last fight with Pantoja was a very good fight, but it's going to be very hard to sell a 3-0 record against a fighter in the UFC. It's not like how it was with Pereira and Adesanya. Those records were in kickboxing, but 3-0, but essentially 3-0 in the UFC. Even if you could say 2-0 because one of the fights were on the Ultimate Fighter, but still, it's not the easiest to sell. But Tyra was a good fight, and Moreno, they both showed great, but it's unfortunate. But that hype that I think Tyra is about to get for being the first person to put out Moreno in the UFC, and I'm pretty sure in his fighting career, is gonna take him a long way. I think it's easy to say this, and this had all the implications that Tatsuro Taira should fight Joshua Van for the flyweight championship. I feel like it would be an amazing fight. If this can be in Taira's home country of Japan, I feel like this would be an amazing coming home party for him. But it's gonna be probably pretty hard. But I believe that this is gonna be a very good fight. This might happen on the White House card or wherever it could be, but I think that's gonna be fireworks. For Brandon Moreno, I think he should fight the loser of Manel Cap and Brandon Royval. I think that would be a good fight for him. Another fight where, even though he has fought Royval in the past, has lost, or if I'm not wrong, he's lost to him. I think a couple of times, or it's 1-1. I'll be honest, I don't remember. I'll put up right here on the screen when I go back in editing and see if I'm right or wrong. But I think that's gonna be a great fight. But I hope it's Brendan versus Cap. I think Moreno versus Manel Cap would be a great fight. But I think the winner of that fight is gonna go into a completely different way. So whoever loses this fight, that fight, I believe would be a great fight. Would be a great matchup for Moreno. Next fight. Now I could have these mixed up, but I think I have it correct. No, actually, I Moreno and Otira was after this fight. I was supposed to do this now. Oh, so that's my fault. It's all right. We're still gonna move on, but I kind of messed up the order in this fight, but it's all right. Next up, Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot. That was, man, unfortunate fight for Henry Cejudo. Obviously retired, like he already has, and this was already a prediction I had, but we already confirmed that he's retired. It's unfortunate. Thank you for the great fights and the great memories that you brought for us, Cejudo. The fights were amazing, but it was the most perfect, I believe. I feel like this was one of the best ways to pass the torch down. And you know what, Payne Talbot, even though I'm pretty sure I predicted him to win, he proved me wrong. I wasn't the biggest fan of him, but he proved me wrong in this fight. I'm excited to see where he goes next. But it was a very good fight, very scrappy. Payne Talbot is a very tall guy. He's very lengthy. I think he's going to give a lot of people troubles in the 135-pound division. But this was a great fight. And like this man can scrap. I think this is gonna be I think he's gonna have lots of very great opportunities. Who do I think he should fight? I think he should fight the winner of Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong. I feel like him and O'Malley, or even Yadong, would be an amazing fight. I feel like him and O'Malley, because they're both so tall and lengthy, it would be just a great scrap between one another. But it was a great fight. Is a great 9 out of 10. I no, you know what, 8 out of 10. It was a great 8 out of 10. I'm not gonna give everything 10 and nines and stuff. I gotta give it some levels. Also, I forgot to rank the last fight because I missed it. I will have to give it a 7 out of 10. But just because I've been watching it off of highlights, I'm pretty sure if I watch it properly, I'll give it a higher score. But it was a great fight as well. Now comes the two main events, the co and the main. I'll go start with the co, obviously. Alejandro Pantoja has quickly became one of my favorite fighters, top 10 of this year and like of the modern era. And honestly, probably of all time. But it was such an unfortunate way for him to lose that fight. I feel like there's nothing more I can say other than a rematch has to happen. But it's gonna take a time for Pantoja to heal up. So it's gonna be Van versus Tyra for the world title. But I think Pantoja should fight the winner right after he gets back and he gets better. It's very unfortunate. Pantoja, I really believe that if Pantoja and Merab both won their fight, I feel like that collision should have happened at the White House card. It's unfortunate what happened. I'm not gonna say that Brendan, sorry. I'm not gonna say Joshua Van is a fluke champion, paper champion. The man took his win when he can. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. Was he parading a lot and like for a fight that like he really didn't do anything in, and like it was a very quick injury? I'm pretty sure he didn't even throw any significant strikes. So, but I'm not gonna call him no paper champion or no bad champion or none of that. Do I think he deserves the win? I'll be honest. I don't think he doesn't deserve it. I feel like he trained hard for this fight, but for somebody of his age to want to fight one of the greatest flyweights of the second greatest flyweight of all time, to do it in that manner, I know that's not how he wanted it as well. I think a rematch should be in order. And honestly, I don't even think it should have had a score. I think this fight should have been a no contest. That's just me. I don't know why it wasn't. Maybe because like he said I can't fight, that they canceled it before clocking the injury. But I think it should have been a no contest rather than a loss on the record and a switch of the titles. But it is what it is. I'll be honest, it's 0 out of 10. I hated this fight. I was very sad. I was very upset for this fight. Now moving on to the main event of the evening. Piotr Jan versus Merab Dvalishvili. Man, the first fight was complete domination from Merab, and their second fight was complete domination from Piotr Jan. These are the most equal fighters ever. And I know Piotr Jan came in with a injured arm and an injured hand in the first fight, And there's lots of, and whether that's true or not, I'm pretty sure it is true. I think there was lots of pictures and stuff circulating around. I will never doubt a fighter who says things. Do I like excuses? No, but I don't believe that was an excuse. I believe that was the truth because if I'm not wrong, I remember seeing pictures of this. But I believe these two fighters are are each other's equals. I believe that's the Batman to their he's the Batman to his Joker. I feel like this was a great fight. And look, sometimes straight wrestling and stuff maybe I find boring, but I've always find Marab's fight interesting and entertaining. And I feel like this was such a great fight. I'm so happy for Piotr Jan for winning. I did have Marab winning, and it's unfortunate for Marab. I feel like he pushed himself a little too much with 4 fights in 1 year. It is what it is. I'm not. It's no excuses for nothing, and it's good that he hasn't even made excuses. Say, "Oh, I fought 4 times, multiple weight cuts, it drained me down." But I think a third fight has to be in order. These two are as equal, I think, as you can find. And I think at the White House or I think they need to give Marab a good break, and then they should do the trilogy. It was a great fight, and man, as unfortunate as it was for Marab's loss, the man's a beast, and I think he's gonna come back better than ever. And I think he may win the trilogy. But now, man, Piotr, he proved me wrong. I didn't think Piotr had it in him anymore, but man, he proved me wrong. Big ups to Piotr Jan. 8.5 out of 10. It was a great fight. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know which videos you want to see next. I'll be posting my GOATs list soon. And thank you all for joining me on this new journey as Punch Code TV. And I hope you guys enjoy and have a great rest of your day. Bye.